As I was watching the parade of people come up and light candles this morning, I wondered if any of those candles were about the storms that you all had. Did anybody experience flooding or tornadoes or anything last week? One? Just one? I hope it was just one. Yeah. When I was in Minnesota, I had two churches, one in Mankato and one in the little town of Hanska, 400 people. And there was, you may remember, a tornado that started at the Iowa state line and went across southern Minnesota and ended up at the Wisconsin state line. It wiped out the entire town of Comfrey, where I had 5 parishioners, and a number of farmers along the way who were parishioners. And in St. Peter, it took out part of the university and a couple of homes of parishioners in Mankato. So altogether, I had 17 people in a small congregation that were severely affected, and it was quite a thing. Fortunately, we had a disabled older woman who just loved to write letters, and so we appealed to the AUA, and we got contributions from churches all over the country. And she wrote thank you letters, and I don't know, it's just interesting. But I'm glad you didn't get that. All the tornadoes I heard about and all the rain I heard about. One of the reasons that I enjoy coming to this church is because of the energy I see here and all of the things that you do for yourselves, for each other, and the church, but also the community and beyond. Maintaining this church, both the building and the programs, is a big job. Perhaps I see you doing more than expected because you have no minister and very little paid staff, but you apparently have chosen to work to make things that you feel are important happen anyway. So you prepare first Sunday lunches and coffee hours and worship services and wonderful descriptions for the annual service auction and art and music and so on. And you house the homeless for a week and participate in Micah and other organizations that help the community and paint the church and keep the grounds and build the playgrounds and much more. The various tasks of church keeping take a lot of time and work. You do a great deal with very little, and you appear to do it with grace and good humor. So, now I have to tell you that this amount of activity, this level of devotion to the well-being of a church, is quite unusual. I doubt that you do all these things because you enjoy the actual work. Standing on a ladder painting wood that soaks up the paint as soon as it is applied doesn't seem to me like much fun, nor do many of the other tasks involved in church keeping and groundskeeping. I don't think you do them for glory or recognition or obligation or compensation. So I have to think that you do them out of love for this church and what it stands for and the people in it. These, I believe, are labors of love. This week, we've heard a lot about John McCain, a man who in many roles served his country unsparingly and unselfishly. He left us a remarkable statement full of hope and optimism, while at the same time admonishing us for our failings. That statement made it very clear that he undertook the various tasks of his life out of love for his family, his country, his fellow veterans, all Americans, and even people in other countries who were once our enemies. He was fully engaged, worked long and hard, and was not afraid to go against the grain for what he believed was right. And I feel sure that all of this effort was because he saw his endeavors as labors of love.